We've qualified for the World Cup. Go and compete.
Hello and welcome to the 18th edition of the Put 'em Under Pressure podcast. My name is Kieran and I'm joined by Adrian and Connor. Now, we're on game week 3 of the Premier League season. It's all been a bit mad so far. A lot of goals. It was like over 40 last week. A lot of crazy decisions. VAR is back.
First draw of the season was 3-3.
Yeah, it's been intriguing. A lot of talking points. A lot of talking points from the previous weekend and games we watched today. Big one I'd like to start on is actually revolving around, I guess, the handball rule now.
Oh, a Palace fan would, of course, have to start here. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it went in our favour last week.
Yeah.
I think the Lindelof handball was quite unfair. I know it's the rules, but I don't know if that's deliberate. I don't know if, I guess his hand was in an unnatural position, but then what is an unnatural position for a hand to be behind your back?
Sure, in the other game, Chelsea got away with it, with Havertz handballing it in the build-up to their goal.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it worked for us, for Palace now, when the Lindelof penalty. Then it worked against us when Joel Ward had the ball kicked against his hand. And then we kicked the ball against Calvert-Lewin's hand, and it wasn't giving us a penalty. So I think the rule is pretty clear. I think the rule is harsh, but it's also not being officiated correctly. So I think there's a lot of talking points.
They haven't a notion. They don't know what they're at, like.
Not a clue.
Has the rule changed from last year? Remember when it was if the ball touched an offensive player's hand in the lead up to a goal, it was handball. Is that still there?
It can't be because
It's been changed.
Havertz just did it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. But that was never really... I don't know. I must have missed that memo.
It was... Well,
So
this
does
is
half the refs.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember the first time it became a talking point was that Champions League game, United versus PSG, where I think someone took a shot from outside the box, the player jumped with his arms in the air, just glimpsed it, and they gave a penalty. It was last minute. Rashford smashed it top bins. Then it was kind of 50-50 in the Premier League. Then it seems like they've defined the rule to be that if your hand's in an unnatural position and it blocks the course of the ball in an attacking situation, it's a penalty.
Yeah, and then there's this T-shirt thing as well, which I had never heard before, like maybe past like 6 months, where suddenly it's like, oh, that's how it's always been. That's like the T-shirt, as in like the shape of a T-shirt on someone. It's okay for the ball to touch there. But anything below like a T-shirt level on the arm is a handball.
Yeah.
Because it happened in an Arsenal match. Gabriel handballed it. So, not handballed it. It hit his shoulder, below the shoulder, but it was on the T-shirt, according to them. So we got away with it. And sure, you'll be seeing handballs given for the exact same things then 5 minutes later in another match.
Yeah. It's an odd one. Like, I watch American football, which is very to the book. Very rule orientated. Is that an ooh thing?
Ooh la la.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
La di da, Mr. American.
What a feminine sport, isn't it?
It's true.
I've always suspected you, Kieran.
I know, it's like, what's it? Lacrosse as well.
Yeah.
Lacrosse is pretty hardcore though.
Is it?
Is that the one where they have the basket and they sling the ball at each other? And they all wear like full hockey gear.
I thought that was squash, no?
Well, squash is when they do it against the wall. This is like
Alright.
is like full size.
What's the one with the horse?
I thought that was lacrosse.
Yeah, me too. Or is that polo?
Oh, that's
polo.
polo, yeah.
Yeah, because
okay.
Ralph Lauren, isn't it?
Yeah, must be.
See,
It
I was
must be.
thinking of Lacoste.
Which is an alligator.
You can hear the fucking wheel turning in Nanny's head.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Right,
The tick is the Nike. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit inconsistent, but it's worked in, like, from my perspective, it's worked quite well. We got unlucky today with it, but maybe it goes back to your point, Hanley, from last year, where it's like it's not VAR, it's the rules. I think does that stand even more?
But now I don't even understand the rules. Like, do you know? At least last year it was fairly clear. Okay, if I hit his hand, but like you said, the Havertz one should have been ruled out, and then because we heard the commentator say, "Well, that wouldn't have stood last year."
Yeah.
Well, it's like, when did that fucking change?
But it didn't look any different to any of the other rulings we've seen this season for handballs and stuff. So,
Like, I can't even celebrate a goal since VAR came in because I just know, no matter what it looked like to me watching, even if it looked completely legit to me watching, if VAR will go back and check it, and there will be some shenanigans with anything. Anytime there's a goal, I can't celebrate, and then when they give it in VAR, it's not like a big, moment of it's just like, okay, thank God.
Yeah.
So I haven't felt happy watching football in a year and a half.
well, come on, like I'm a Palace fan. I've never felt happy watching football. Yeah, it's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I understand that it's going to change results and it's going to be fair, but there is that sense of joy that you see the referee blow for a goal and then he stops and it's like, and that little purple box comes up. You're
that's what I enjoy. Instead of me enjoying goals being given, it's enjoying goals being taken away from the teams I hate. Fuck them.
But they seem to review every goal now, every single goal.
Yeah, I think so.
For and that's kind of what I don't get, is that it was meant to be clear and obvious. Mm-hmm. So if there was a maybe offside, you'd say, okay, well that's going to be reviewed. Now they review everything.
Like, what would happen if in the build up to a goal, say like there was a throw in and the throw in was incorrectly given against another team, like if it bounced off the other player. That happens all the time. 10 times a game it happens where like players put their hands up, say my way, and the other team put their hands up my way, and the ref just gives it to them. If they gave that a throw and they threw it into the box and it was a goal, could they review that saying it was given the wrong way as a throw in?
That's it.
I'd hope not, because it would be a different phase of play.
I know, but so a phase of play is when the ball gets put into play from a dead ball situation.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know. I think...
And corners as well, like getting a corner that you shouldn't have been given.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's it. I think a lot of us enjoyed football. Like, I always think back to when we played like football in school, and we had like, you remember we were just trying to hit the basketball pole because we didn't have like goals or nets and stuff. Mm-hmm. The joy of that was absolutely just going 90 and trying to win, trying to beat players and try and smash it against the pole for that sweet ping that we'd get. But that's what I enjoy football for. Imagine if there was like VAR for that. Like, it'd be no crack. It'd be boring.
Yeah.
So it must be shit for players now. They know that they can't really do anything that's maybe a little bit offside.
Yeah, I mean, you're hoping that it still gets better and better as it goes, because it's not going to go away. And people were asking for this forever. They were going, why is it in rugby and it works so well and we can't have it when the decision can be like that? Mm-hmm. But obviously now they're making that decision for every fucking goal, and it's kind of killing it a bit.
Yeah. Do you know what? I kind of came to the realisation last weekend that I'd actually prefer a decision to go against like Palace unfairly and it not be, and VAR not like exist, than have to watch it 20 times to see that Jordan Ayew's foot or toe was actually a millimetre behind the defender and he is onside and it is a goal. It just doesn't feel... I don't know, it feels a bit forensic now.
Yeah, I don't think I'd agree with you on that, because I probably would just take the points.
Liverpool would be 10th otherwise, is it?
No.
Yeah.
We'd have won the fucking...
Carling Cup.
Premier League back in 2014 if VAR was there.
Oh yeah.
How was that?
Because when Liverpool played City,
he has all these archives in his mind, like these times.
I just remember the things I need to use an argument for, you can talk about a game today, and I'd be like, nah, no idea what you're talking about.
I just remember Van Persie being sent off against Barcelona.
Yes,
that's it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, I was so angry.
Anytime a player kicks the ball away, I think of that moment. I think, where's the red? Where's the red?
It was less than a second, wasn't it?
In the new camp, 90,000 people whistling. Oh, I was livid.
A red.
We all watched that together.
No, look, I'll let it go.
Anyway,
no, you won't.
Till next time.
Raheem Sterling scored a legitimate goal against Manchester City.
I almost forgot Sterling played for Liverpool.
That was ruled offside, and he was like a yard onside. And if that goal had stood, presumably Liverpool would have gone on to win the league by like a point.
Presumably.
Well, if that game hadn't gone totally differently. Because I think in the end they lost 1-0 to a really dodgy Negredo goal. There you go.
I wish we could go back to the 1999 treble winning year for United and check every game, and if VAR was there, watch
That's an
them get
interesting
relegated.
idea.
Yeah. Can we do it?
Oh,
Well, they got enough Fergie time today, didn't they?
They did. Yeah. I suppose that leads us on to the next bit. Is United's first 2 games, because there's been a lot in them, and not because Palace won 3-1 at Old Trafford for consecutive years. Massive game, but today was a new one, right?
It was
Penalty given.
It was Fergie time of a new dimension. Like, you've never seen Fergie time like this before. Post game,
Yeah, the ref blew for full time.
the ref blew it up. He blew it up. He said, "Doo, doo, doo." "Game
That
is
was
over.
spot on too.
Game is over."
What a whistle.
very good.
And they argued him into giving him a penalty.
Yeah.
The fucking Brighton players should have run off the field.
Sure.
Leave the field. You blew it up. Walk away. When has this ever happened before? Don't even entertain the fucking idea.
Yeah.
Don't even go in goal. Let them take a penalty with an open goal, because no one's going to take that seriously.
Because either way, right? If they've walked off and the ref says, "Well, you forfeited the game," they're still losing it. You know, you're not going to score the penalty regardless.
I mean, they have a solid case if they just said, "No, you blew it up. You blew the final whistle. I'm walking away."
Yeah, United are scum.
Shit,
But
man.
it was.
Maybe some people listening don't know what we're talking about, but just in case.
Just if you want to talk them through it.
Brighton had just scored in the 95th minute to make it 2-2 against Man United, and then they went up the other end of the field. I mean, they were well past injury time now. They gave 5 minutes injury time. They were in the 97th minute, so this was the last kick of the game, last possible thing. They kicked the ball into the box, and a Brighton player, it connected with a Brighton player in Maupay. It connected with his hand in the box, which is a penalty. But the ref blew it when the ball, rebounded off him, rebounded out of the box. They kicked it out of play. Ref blew up the whistle in the game, and then Man United players crowded around him and said, "Hang on, he handled the ball." And the ref was like, "You know what, you're right." And he went to look at VAR and gave them a penalty and restarted the game and gave them a penalty.
Mad.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it.
Unprecedented times.
Yeah. Imagine if there had been fans.
Yeah.
You'd be walking out the fucking turnstiles,
Yeah. I just look. This is small club syndrome here, right? But I don't see any team outside, and I say top 4. It's it's only 1 year that United have been in top 4 recently. But other than the bigger sides, would Newcastle have had a penalty given after full time because they argued with the ref? No, they wouldn't. I can't see it happening. I also thought the irony of Bruno Fernandes fouling. Was it Lamptey in the box?
Yeah.
And then saying, "Get up, you dived."
Oh,
I mean, the fella trips on thin air. Don't, nah.
And then this fella scores the penalty then, and it's just all the United fans, "Oh, Bruno, fucking legend."
Can I just clarify? Man United fans celebrating a 99th minute winner when they've been shit.
They were shit.
Shit.
This is the luckiest win I've ever seen. Ever watching football.
Yeah.
I cannot stress how bad United were, top to bottom, against Brighton.
Yeah.
The fact that they're celebrating that is embarrassing. It's pathetic. I'm going on record saying that because years ago you were a Champions League top team, and today, everyone laughed at fucking
Chelsea.
Oh my god, yeah. Look, you barely beat Brighton. At least Chelsea beat Brighton 3-1.
Legitimately. Without fucking extra dimensional intervention.
And then somehow Kurt Zuma scoring a volley and scoring a 40-year-old...
Bruce James shooting from 40 yards.
Doesn't count somehow. Whereas penalty given after full time does count. Anyway.
And that's managerial expertise, that is.
Still penalties. Jesus Christ. They've won every game on fucking a penalty for the past 6 months.
Rashford's goal was great. I liked Rashford's goal.
He mugged off the right back.
But pretty much top to bottom, everyone on the pitch was shit. Pogba, I purposely really zoomed in on Pogba and really checked how he played, and that guy is just a catastrophe. Really.
Yeah. I think as well.
Finished.
I mean, look. I think the thing is, right, especially with United, is that like, I mean, maybe they are. Maybe this is obvious, but like, I'd be really concerned, because Palace are not a better team than United. We're not, clearly, but literally played them off the park at home.
Yeah.
On their home opener, played them off the park. Absolutely deserved the win.
Totally.
Brighton then. I mean, I'd probably put Palace and Brighton in the same bracket in terms of
They're about the same, yeah.
Premier League quality. Gave him a good game, and like you said, a few strokes
Not
of
only
luck.
gave him a good game, they hit the post like 5 times.
Yeah.
Solly March there blazing over from 6 yards multiple times. They could have won this game like 6 or 7 like goals, right?
7-3.
And United's next two are Burnley and Spurs. Like they're not United aren't playing a good team for a while, and it's actually in their favour because I think any other team, if they'd had the opening that Arsenal were going to have, or even Liverpool, I don't know, would United not be starting the season like 4 points from 6 games or something? They're shoddy. I mean, Maguire was horrendous again. Really poor. I mean, he scored, but like, just being exposed.
Do you know, I think if I was at United and someone came to me and said, what do we need to fix this team? Like, what if we could make 2 signings, what do we need? I wouldn't know where to start.
I would say
based on today.
You need a new winger, you need 2 new midfielders, you need 2 new fullbacks, and you need 2 new centre backs and a goalkeeper.
Like, you can't fix this with Sancho.
No.
I've heard now that his name is Van de Beek.
It's fucking Sky
Van der
Sports again.
Schneek.
Anyways, he's not even fucking playing.
Schneider.
Matic got the assist. He was nearly as good as anyone on the pitch. Fernandes had one decent pass that was a pass that any midfielder should make. Jordan Henderson makes passes 10 times better than that, and no one says a fucking word.
Look, they're in for a rude awakening. These United fans, they think this is a classic Ferguson win. Oh, we persisted till the final whistle. Man United get it done. Didn't. You're riding your luck, and it will come crashing down.
Scum.
This is so pointed. Like,
well, look, I mean, if we want to get it a little bit less pointed too, back to your point of like Sancho's not going to fix it. Another club who struggled today were Chelsea, who again are throwing money in the wrong places. 2 defensive mistakes in the first 20 minutes, and they're 2-0 down to literally the whipping boys of the league. Thiago Silva looked like your granddad playing football.
He was at 6s and 7s the whole time, flailing.
I was disappointed. I actually thought he'd bring some sort of solidity.
He may.
He might. I think, but like you would think, okay, first Premier League game. West Brom, probably as nice a starting game as you can get, and he fucking was hung out to dry. Like.
I think a lot of teams are trying to like get into the trend of the 3-5-2 press, but a lot of players are getting stitched up because of that. Because like Thiago Silva is not like a pressing ball playing centre back really at his age. Maybe he was.
I mean, sure. Look at them at the end of the game. They were playing like 2-3, like.
Chelsea, was it?
Chelsea,
5. They were playing like 2-3-5. They threw everyone on forward.
Yeah.
And they completely lost their shape. I'll say this now. I mean, people think I have a hard on for Frank Lampard, which I do. But they when they brought off Silva for Giroud, they actually I thought if they kept things as it were, James was bussing it on the wing. He can't defend, right? But they were on top, and they brought Giroud on. It just became like a one-dimension thing with no shape.
Look, I was so disappointed. West Brom they threw it away.
They did.
After they went 3-0 up after 25 minutes.
28. Yeah.
It was just kind of playing like they were just like, oh, we're happy enough.
They should have kept going,
and
right?
they were just getting bombarded for Chelsea for the rest of the match. When Chelsea put on like 5 strikers, they just let them at it. There was no attempt to, do anything. They were just like, we'll take the win. And of course that didn't happen because they played for 60 minutes defending.
Lampard lambasted Marcus Alonso after anyway.
Well,
He put him down for at fault for 2 of the goals.
Look, he hasn't a clue.
Bit of a car crash appearance that was. Drum roll.
I don't know. It's
He killed people in a car crash.
He did, yeah. We're going on record to say that. He shouldn't be playing. Like,
I
It's a
mean,
fact.
he go on record. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, you can look it up.
Yeah. And JBL fingered Edge as well.
He did
Don't
in the
forget
shower. Yeah, he gave him a sudsy bum. Yeah.
that. Anyway,
no, we keep going on this. Yeah, let the secrets out.
those are the only two
The
I
Pope's
can
a diddler.
remember.
Definitely.
But I would say, look, Lampard obviously put out the wrong team today. It wasn't very good.
That's the only team they have, though. It is the wrong team.
yeah.
Well,
It's-
Abraham and not playing Jorginho, and there was a few kind of questionable
Well,
ones.
that's the thing, isn't it? He has no clue what he's got. So many players now. He doesn't know what the best 11 is. Last year, wasn't that variety of players, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, the only half defense I have is maybe the players are still getting used to the Premier League and still getting used to each other. I mean, Havertz, like Werner, still hasn't really done it. He hasn't done much at all.
Werner is washed.
it's quite poor. Yeah.
He's 23. He's washed up.
He had his time with the sun.
He's
He hasn't done a fucking thing. Oh, and midweek, Havertz scored like a hat trick against, who was it, like Lincoln or something? No, not
It
Lincoln.
was
Brist-
Barnsley.
Barnsley.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh yeah, that's your £70 million player." I was like, "Let me see him do it in the league against like
Against
non-championship
anyone,
team,
yeah.
against anyone." He's shite.
Yeah, he's really. Like, someone said he's the new Cruyff. Did someone compare him to Cruyff?
Someone said that. Yeah. Who was that?
What the fuck is that about?
It was like a foreign manager as well,
Oh,
so it was like an unbiased opinion.
anyway, he's
Cruyff.
a lot. He's a
The new
lot to do.
Cruyff.
Yeah, 3 goals against Bayern.
the new Cruyff.
Well, Cruyff didn't even score a hat trick against
Yeah,
Barnsley.
exactly.
It's I don't know. Yeah, the signings haven't worked yet. Chilwell, maybe. I don't. Look, I don't
saying
know.
that,
Fucking hell. Like,
Kai Havertz is going to change football forever.
I do think Chelsea got a fucking land last week when Liverpool played them off the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think they really thought that they were contenders, and then they were given a fucking lesson, to be honest. And I think maybe now Lampard is stressing because, of course, he spent loads of money and the pressure is on.
If
So-
he has to do it this season. There's no, he's a young manager. Oh, it's a Chelsea legend. There's no.
He's a good man though.
Give
But
him
what
time.
is it though? Like top 4?
At least top 4.
Yeah, because, well,
minimum.
they're
If-
not-
even then, he'd get fired. I'd
They're
say.
not going to win the league. They're not going to come close.
I think a trophy's good.
He
enough.
needs a trophy minimum and Champions League.
Yeah.
Absolute bare minimum. Like.
When does the Champions League start?
I don't know.
Next
October,
month.
isn't it? Yeah.
Be very interested to see how they do in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think there's only one more qualifying round of the Champions League, so
If they got like quarters or something, but I don't see it happening. But then those players might be, used to Champions League, so I don't
they'll
know.
probably do what United will do, which is like come third in their group and compete in Europa League.
God, that would be bad.
Stay out of my territory.
It's my yard.
Arsenal keep getting knocked out of the Europa League by teams that drop into it, like Atletico Madrid and people.
And
Yeah.
Olympiacos.
Yeah. And Chelsea. Fucking assholes.
Well, how different would the world of Arsenal be if he'd won that Europa League final?
It would be very different, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Champions League, I mean, for all Emery's faults, he tends to do well in cup knockout competitions and especially European competitions. He's in Villarreal now, isn't he?
Is he?
He's in somewhere in Spain,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, I have no ill will towards Emery. Look, he was just...
He's just a bit of an idiot. Wasn't
You were always very respectful.
I was respectful because I don't hate the man, but geez, he got some things wrong. The teams were not good. The play was not good. The results were not good. I mean, what can you say? It was just, I mean, he had to go at that point. But
Yeah.
he? Look, you gotta have some bad times to enjoy the good times, like now, right?
I suppose.
Right.
I guess maybe, yeah. The past 2 or 3 months have probably been the best time to be an Arsenal fan since 2015, 2016. Yeah.
I mean,
When was the last-
98.
When was the last FA Cup?
2017, I think.
That was nice.
Wait.
That was a nice moment, right?
Did you not win the FA Cup last year?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Oh,
before
oh, right,
before
okay.
the past few
Yeah.
months,
Okay.
yeah.
Those times are great.
Look, Arsenal win the FA Cup in their sleep. Like, they wake up with an FA Cup in their hands. Like, it's the Arsenal Cup.
Speaking of Arsenal and their recent triumphs, big game coming up this weekend, which you'll hopefully... Monday, which you'll hopefully hear pre-game, is Arsenal-Liverpool.
We would look like such clowns now with our ideas about it.
Yeah, this is always a bit of a pressure.
We did this before, remember with Red Sunday when it was Liverpool United, and we bigged it up, and it was the worst game of football I've watched.
Hopefully anyone who's listening to this is listening to it like just a couple of hours before the game.
That would be ideal.
Okay, so let's do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Look, Arteta's beaten Liverpool comfortably, like the past 2 times they met him, like the past few months. They beat him in the
not necessarily correct.
The Community Shield, they beat him in the league.
They beat him in the Community Shield, they drew, but anyway.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Well,
technicality.
Look, let's just be honest with each other.
Look, they won.
Okay, they won the cup. Yeah, they won the Shield.
They emerged the winners on that particular day.
They won the penalty shootout. Yeah.
Not bother. Like, okay. Going to Anfield again, they have to go to Anfield twice in like 2 days or something. They have to play them in the League Cup as well. Going to Anfield, the league champions, is probably like the hardest fixture of the season. They have to go there twice. I would not be devastated if they lost. If they lost and looked competitive, I'll be like, whatever. We'll get this fixture out of the way. Beat them at home later in the season, hopefully. Anything other than just like a 4-0 hammering, I'd be like, okay, take it, move on. That's what I feel about it at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. It's probably one that I'm worried about. I'm more worried about Arsenal than I was for Chelsea because of what you said. The last league game was it 2-1 or 2-0? 2-1.
It was 2-1. Yeah.
2-1.
And Van Dijk embarrassed himself.
Yes,
which he's prone to do recently.
Yeah.
And he's finished.
They washed.
Let me just talk about the match and then we'll talk about this shit, right? Because, you're hard to beat now. That's the thing. Arsenal are a team that are hard to beat and they have good players up front that can score goals.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, no matter what Arsenal are playing like, even if they play shite, if they lump it up to Aubameyang, he can score anything. Yeah. So it doesn't really,
Yeah.
Now, I would hope Liverpool still have enough. Thiago has only played 45 minutes, but he looked really good. And I think that's one thing is that Liverpool are kind of short on a couple of places. If Gomez doesn't play, then it'll have to be Firmino at the back. And Henderson is out. So if Fabinho is at the back, then it'll be a midfield of Thiago, Wijnaldum and Keita maybe, which is just a bit soft. So we'll see. I would be quietly confident to not lose. If it was a draw, it wouldn't be a disaster.
I would love a draw.
It could also be
cute.
But it could also be
yeah, let's get a draw. Yeah.
It could also be like 3-0 Liverpool or 2-0 Arsenal. Do you know? It could be any score. It's football, ladies and gentlemen. Anything could happen.
It's true. I think that going on this season, I think it's going to be high scoring. Everything since lockdown has been a pretty wild game, right?
Yeah, it could
everything since lockdown, has been crazy high scoring.
Yeah,
it could be like I just don't see Arsenal conceding like 4 goals though. Do you know what I mean?
I would love an old Arsenal Liverpool classic like Arshavin 4 goals.
Yeah, 4-3 or 4-4.
Yeah. If Tierney's not playing and Kolasinac is playing, I think they'll ship a lot of goals. Kolasinac doesn't want to play for Arsenal anymore. Right. I don't think he looks like he's checked out completely. I don't think there's a bigger downgrade in the league than going from Tierney to Kolasinac. As in like your sub, as in your backup.
Yeah.
I can't think of one.
Firmino to Origi.
No, I think that's better.
You think Firmino's done anyway, do you?
Yeah, I think he's had his dinner and, he's asking for the check.
Let me just say, Connor today said that Firmino, Van Dijk...
Yesterday.
Okay, sorry.
Excuse you.
Connor said yesterday
Schooled.
that Firmino, Van Dijk and
Henderson
were washed up.
No. I said Firmino is finished. I said Van Dijk has looked like a fraud since lockdown, and that Henderson has flattered to deceive.
Big distinction there, Hanley. So
Yeah.
I just want to take your point back.
Right. Well, they all won the Champions League and the Premier League in the last 2 seasons, so... Yeah, I'll
that
throw that
any
back in
measure-
your face.
is that any
of course
measure-
it's a measure. Of course, there are 3 starting players in the best team in England last season.
Henderson is.
Why didn't you win the
Van
Community Shield?
Dijk is one of the best centre-backs in the world, for sure.
He was.
He was. I mean,
Oh,
going over the last...
because he gave the ball away to fucking Bamford
Yes.
for a goal that didn't even matter in the end.
You don't see players like... oh, wait. You see teams
Yeah.
doing that.
He fucking gives the ball away when it doesn't matter a shit, and they still win.
Yeah, well, you know, they say it's hard to get out of bed and go running at 4 a.m. when you've been sleeping in silk sheets.
They don't say that. No one says that. I've never heard that before. You're just making shit up.
But you know what they do say? Loose lips sink ships.
So anyway, Firmino doesn't score as many goals, but he does a different job. Anyone who doesn't understand that doesn't understand.
Yeah,
football.
I mean, yeah. Firmino's not really a striker. He's not. He plays a
he plays
9.
as a 10.
But that's it. He's not a goal scorer.
No, well, he's not a playmaker either.
He's a link.
He's
The Thomas Muller who what do they call it? The
lead
rudimenter.
wing.
Is it the rudimenter? Is the
Rodemter or something?
some German
football
term,
manager
right?
term, yeah.
And it's like he can pull backwards and forwards to create space for the people that are going to score.
And I'll tell you what, Jurgen Klopp knows more about football than 3 of us
That's
put
not
together.
true. I don't know
multiplied
about
by
that.
100. First job. Are you?
How can you say that? What's the standard text to prove that? Let's have a test.
Okay. If I applied for the Liverpool job, they would tell me to fuck off. And they begged him to get the Liverpool job.
Yeah. But
Well, that's
just a
judged.
name,
That's because
you
of
know?
the board. That's nothing to do with you and Klopp. Like that's the judgment
If
power of the board.
if I sat down with Jurgen Klopp and talked tactics, I'd be lost in about
You
two,
could
2
lose him.
seconds.
Yeah. By being wrong.
You'd be like lump it.
He'd be like, so good in the half space, and I'd be like, hang on now, just 2 seconds.
Yeah.
What's the half space again?
No,
See-
you could just be like, you're wrong.
There's
You're
similarities
wrong.
too.
Like prove it. You should say to him, prove it.
There's similarities, you see, because a lot of good managers are crap football players. We're crap football players,
Yeah.
so we could be great managers.
Exactly.
I mean,
I mean,
I don't want to brag, but
yeah,
I've been pretty good on FIFA recently.
exactly. I have a strikerless tactic on Football Manager. That's
Yeah.
Klopp do better.
No, I mean, look, he's made millions off managing teams, and I've made 0 money off football in any capacity ever.
There we go.
But have you even
It's
tried?
all measured in dollars
I'm
and
here
cents,
trying
isn't it?
to monetize this podcast.
No, you're not.
Yeah. We'll set up a Patreon and it'll all go to me.
Okay.
And then I'll start
That's
fighting
all
for the
right.
So you're
Liverpool
coaching
job.
back.
It all comes down to the money, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's
Look,
it.
At the end of the day, I think Klopp knows a thing or two about football.
Well.
And he's always said that Firmino is like the first name. He says Salah and Mane are very important, but Firmino is like the most important of those.
If he was, he wouldn't need to say that. It's like the X Factor. The one they want to win never wins X Factor. They always finish second. Because if they're that good, they don't need the boost of winning it. The shit person wins it, so they have that claim saying they won X Factor.
Gareth Gates was robbed.
Exactly. And Will Young.
Will Young needed the boost.
Yeah, exactly. But it was Gareth Gates was the one who was...
He was the pop idol.
He was the one.
He was the pop idol.
Forget Will Young, you know?
Right.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Firmino is the Will Young of football. He needs the boost.
I don't know what's going on.
He needs
You
the
have
boost.
to know who Will Young is.
I know who Will Young is.
If
I
you
know
don't,
who
if you
Gareth
don't
Gates
need the
is.
boost, you don't get the boost. You know what I'm saying? No one goes out and says, "Oh, I believe in Messi. I believe in Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I think he's the first name on the team sheet." You don't need to say that. He doesn't need that.
I like Firmino though.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm kind of getting lost in Flynn's argument.
Yeah, Firmino's not past it anyway, that's for sure.
He's washed.
I still don't really know what that means.
Washed up, like
He's rinsed.
Like he's past it?
yeah.
Well, that's what I just said. He's not past it. So,
Time will tell.
Next
look,
5 years.
hopefully,
Van Dijk will be...
you've made me so angry now. I would
Good.
give anything to see Firmino fucking smash 3 past Arsenal.
Dave here in the background being plan worked all along. Let them
Oh, yeah.
hate Firmino so I can pick him up in the draft.
I'll just reiterate about Arteta. Actually, I know people go mad for Arteta, and he's clearly better than Solskjaer and Lampard.
Yes, country mile.
There's still question marks over Arteta, and there's still bad results. Because I know people will be like, if in a year's time, if Arteta gets fired for bad results, people will be like, oh, you thought he was brilliant, and now, oh, look what happened. You were, misled. I'm like, no, I'm still skeptical even now. Write it down. I'm still. There's a little bit where I'm like, a little bit of doubt still.
I still think of those three, he had the hardest job, and he's done.
Oh yeah,
he's made the most.
Undoubtedly, that goes without saying. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's the ranking is Arteta, Lampard, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and there's no question.
No question.
No question.
No question.
None whatsoever.
And no debate. It ends now.
Fuck Solskjaer.
Nones.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Are you?
Yeah.
Did we want to talk about Bale? No.
Okay, we can talk about Bale, but
is that like a weekend?
he's washed.
Yeah, he's a nonce.
I love your limited list of players that aren't washed.
There's only 3 players in the world who aren't washed.
Kieran Tierney.
Who has played 5 games in the past year.
Obama.
Mikel Arteta could probably
Mikel
still do a
Arteta,
job.
yeah. The non-washed.
Well, did you want to talk about Bale? I don't
I
want.
think we just did.
Oh,
I think,
okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I don't think he'll be as good as people expect him to be.
Yeah, and I don't really have much to say on him because I don't think he'll play for about a month anyway. So
They're getting rid of Dele Alli, which,
are they?
I think so. I think Mourinho wants him out.
Mourinho doesn't like him, it seems, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a few years ago it seemed like he was the golden boy. Him and Kane, they were going to be the core Tottenham legends, and now they're...
But Mourinho does this. He has a habit of going into clubs that perhaps have some potential players and just ruining them.
He hasn't a clue.
He's washed.
He is washed. I'll agree with that.
He is washed.
Though, did you watch the Spurs documentary? Because we have it on Prime, and it's interesting. Yeah,
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, he comes across good, I think.
This is what they always say.
He comes across well.
These shows are just propaganda.
But they're designed to make him look good, right?
Oh,
if
yeah.
you come away thinking that, it did its job.
But he's clearly what's that thing where you need everything lined up and
Like OCD.
Yeah, he's very OCD, I'd say, because even it shows him coming into his office, and he puts everything down one by one, lines it up, and then it's the pen is next to the diary.
It's all for
and then
show.
the thing.
It's all for show.
Why would he? That's not even interesting for show. I just thought it was interesting that he's probably really meticulous.
Kind of similar, but I used to work with someone who, when they came into the room or came into the office or a meeting room, they would move something, and it's actually a certain dominance.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Is that what Mourinho's doing? That does sound like I could.
But moving other people's property.
Kind of, or the room's property. So if I came down and sat down here and I just moved this closer to me, or I moved that towards you, or I moved the mic, it's it's a certain dominance.
But it's interesting because he'd always say I don't play negative football. He says this kind of thing.
Yeah, he's lying to himself.
But he doesn't in the documentary. I know you might say it's planned, but he goes in and he doesn't say I want you to defend, but he will openly say you're being too nice. You need to foul them. You need to break up the play. You need to not be a nice guy, which obviously means play shit football and foul people.
Yeah.
But that's what he's saying. The whole 6 episodes, he's going, you need to be a cunt and you need to foul people.
Is it only 6 episodes?
Well, no, sorry, it's 8 or
Oh no, sorry,
8 or 9,
that wasn't
yeah.
the correct. Yeah, I watch it in YouTube clips,
Yeah,
so I never really know. I just see all the best bits.
Yeah. They had such Amazon must be puked because that season was a nothing season for them.
Yeah.
It
had embarrassments and
Not as intended, right? Though, do you know what I mean? It was supposed to be to highlight Spurs and Mourinho's rise, and they actually just tripped and got egg in their face.
I'd say they did it because they saw that they had gotten to the Champions League final and went, oh, they're on the up and they have a new stadium. And then I'd say weeks into filming, your man was fired because Pochettino was only in it for half an episode, even though he was there for a month or two.
But that's the part you'd want to see.
Yeah, and they don't even mention it really. They just say
that is more interesting to me than Mourinho doing his fucking dog and pony show. Would be seeing Pochettino that falling apart. Because obviously he still had players and people who were loyal to him. Because he's their best manager they've had
Forever.
ever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, Pochettino built them into a respectable team instead of being a perennial joke. Well, Harry Redknapp too.
Yeah.
But the two of them, and then to see that it's that bitter kind of like he has to go, but no one wants to say you have to go. A bit like Wenger. It's like we know it's at an end, and you've got to go, but no one wants to say you got to go because you've done so much for the team. Even though Wenger did a lot more than Pochettino.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, I would like to see a bit more of that, seeing it fall apart from the inside.
It's not the focus of it really.
It's just a shame because like that's what Sunderland. I don't even think again it wasn't the intention. Like the Sunderland Till I Die was them like Phoenix from the ashes kind of thing, and it just
that's funny.
Yeah,
it got worse.
It got worse.
Yeah.
Phoenix into the ashes.
Because at the end of the Tottenham one, it's like the focus is on them celebrating getting Europa League. You're like,
oh
God, like
Americans.
Amazon, I'd say a month from the end, we're like, let's just fucking wrap this shit
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
They were there behind the camera doing the twirly finger thing. Come on.
What?
Excuse me.
It's COVID.
It does show. It does show when the COVID is hitting, and how they're having meetings, and they're like, so how do we do this? And it kind of brought me back to like everyone being like, so we can't do this? We can't? Because Mourinho was like, well, we have to train. And they're like, no, you can't. Like, he's like, so what do we do? But like, I'd say he's totally genuine, being like, what do you mean we can't play? What do you mean we can't train? Like, what happens? So kind of just brought you back to the start of it, you know?
And we're going right back in that direction. That's Can't wait. As long as the football keeps going, right?
That's it.
That's all
I don't
matters.
mind being home all the time once there's football to watch.
Absolutely.
Players are going to get infected, and once a player gets infected, teams infected.
Well,
I don't
West Ham, we've not heard any more on their cases.
All right.
There's been nothing said
hopefully.
about stopping football, even though
They're just like, we're just going to power through.
Yeah,
no
Britain has gone back into lockdown. I guess they're so careful with tests and stuff, but then sure, West Ham, like you said, you know,
there's no harm. The whole West Ham team don't turn up most days anyway.
Not that I'd wish
Any
the coronavirus upon
coronavirus.
anyone, but if there was any team I had to choose to get it,
you know, you just
well, it would probably be West Ham.
Yeah, I
No,
think,
it might be well.
I think it would be Karen Brady. I'd like it to happen to, because she was the one that was just like, it's ridiculous. We should have fans back in the stadiums. And then
Who's Karen Brady?
she's the owner of, one of the owners of West Ham.
Oh,
Yeah,
that rotten bitch.
yeah, she's a bit of a piece of work. Yeah, and she was the one basically lambasting the government for not letting fans back in, and then sure, her club then is the first one with like big outbreak.
yeah.
Fuck you.
I mean, Arsenal are the most dependent team on match day revenue in the country. Most of their revenue, well, the biggest proportion of their revenue comes from match day tickets.
Yeah.
Really?
So without fans, I don't know. Even Spurs are kind of similar, but sure, they have a brand new stadium.
That's
they need to pay off.
Yeah.
That's the thing for Spurs, isn't it? Is that they obviously budgeted this massive stadium on the fact that
On the
not
fact
just
they were
football,
going to start getting money for it. Yeah.
not just football, NFL were
Yeah.
playing 2-3 games there a season, big bucks that is, and they were holding events, and concerts and stuff. Yeah, well, Selhurst Park is still doing good, and that's all that matters.
That's it. Back to Highbury.
Putting the gravel back together. All right, is that a wrap, boys?
Yeah, let's wrap her up.
Great. Thanks very much for listening to the 18th Put 'em Under Pressure podcast. We'll hopefully have this up before the Liverpool Arsenal game.
Fuck Lampard. Fuck United.
Up the Palace.
Interesting. Okay.
You've been listening to the Put 'em Under Pressure podcast. To keep up to date with all of our content, give us a follow on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. Outro music. Boom.
That was good.
That was good, right?
Yeah.
We'll prepare and we'll go and we'll do our best. We'll put them under pressure.